Hello, Jamie.
Hi, Jason. How are you today?
Very well. So thanks for taking the time.
My pleasure. It's nice to talk to you.
Well, Jamie Hale of Ladder Life in sunny Palo Alto, California. Tell us about Ladder Life.
Sure. So we are trying to re-engineer the life insurance buying process. So we've, through a lot of great technology, have made the process of going out and buying life insurance from a 5-week process where people have to visit your home and do all types of stuff, down to a delightful digital experience where people can go to ladderlife.com, figure out what life insurance they need, go through the application process, get an instant decision, and be done in about 8 minutes. So compared to 6 to 8 weeks of the traditional process, about 10,000 times faster. So we're trying to make it a delightful experience from one that's driven by brokers and agents.
I almost fell off my chair when you said 8 minutes the first time. I was just like, you got to be kidding me. So we'll talk about that in a minute. So
Sure.
What drove you to start this company? Was it applying for insurance and seeing how bad it was? Or was there some other genesis of it?
One of my co-founders, definitely that is his experience. But for me, I was actually the guy who told me you should get life insurance. He was doing exactly what he should be doing. He had 2 kids, I was 3. He getting a mortgage and was trying to get his situation figured out for his family. And I'm a big fan of life insurance because I'm a beneficiary. My dad died when I was 11, and thankfully he had life insurance. And it did exactly what it was supposed to do. It kept me and my mom in our home around a really hard time and kept us in our community so our community could support us, got me through college and graduate school. So thankfully, because of an act of love about my dad, we didn't have financial distress at the same time we had emotional distress. So it's a fantastic product that is just awesome for families and communities. Matter of fact, Ladder's mission is we believe we're helping fund the resiliency of families and communities by helping close the coverage gap. So I told you my co-founder went through the buying process, and I told him you should get it, and went through the buying process. And he had prior been working at Google, and he's like, there has to be a better way. And that was the start of Ladder.
So, quite the personal story there, and thanks for sharing it. And that's a very human side. The joke of it is no one ever says no to the beneficiary check. You're right. It is. It's when people say, thanks for showing me the need. I don't think I'm going to buy that. I always stop and think about, man, I sincerely hope. But when it does, and you have it in place. I will. Besides the fact I'm a licensed agent, I am also a big believer in it, and my family will be very taken care of if anything happens to me. I take a lot of solace in knowing that.
And that's great. And it allows you to go kind of lead your wonderful life. You don't have to worry about that.
I can go skydiving and everything. No, I'm not. The point is, so okay. So let's the big thing you said. 8 minutes. So tell me how, because it's so painful otherwise.
Yeah. So basically, what we're doing is we're taking the whole application process, which in the traditional world is really paper-based and paper-driven, and we're making it digitized and dynamic. So as you go through the process of answering the questions, what we're doing is we're doing all the work of the underwriting in the background, and we're doing it in real time. So we can give you an instant decision. So a lot of the industry is run on what's called Life 70. It's an AS 400 policy admin system that literally is older than I am. So a lot of life companies just haven't invested in technology to keep up with customer expectations.
You're being kind. They haven't thinking about technology in some instances. I always joke that as bad as people think it, the stuff in the technologies on the investment side, the insurance side is just beyond decades behind. I'm still hearing stories of vacuum tube computers and punch card systems. So.
It is unbelievable. It's expensive and it's old and it's not very flexible. So today's modern consumer, you don't call travel agents as much, and you don't go into bank branches. You want it to be available when you're available and to work on your terms. So the term Ladder, and you'll know this from being a licensed agent, your life insurance needs aren't constant over time. They change. So this concept that we're going to go buy this big block of insurance and keep that exact same block of life insurance for 30 years just isn't realistic for how people's lives evolve. You have a kid, you maybe get a mortgage and your needs go up. You maybe have a second kid and your needs go up again. But you do a good job. You raise those kids. You send them off to university. They go live their marvelous lives. You pay down that mortgage. You need less and less over time. So part of what's great about Ladder is since we rebuilt the whole tech stack from the lowest level all the way to the top. If you're a customer of Ladder, if you need less insurance, you can just log on your policy admin page, reduce your coverage from, let's say, $1 million to $800,000, and your premium payment goes down by 20%, so the exact same proportion instantly. So all those things that are a little bit of an artifact of 30, 40, 50-year-old technology, when you rebuild it, you can actually change the fundamentals of the product to make them more relevant for customers. And so they can save money.
So try to envision you actually going to an insurance company when this thing started and said, hey, look what we want to do. How many doors did you knock on before you got a carrier that was willing to work with you?
We were really lucky. Part of our founding team, we just have some incredible people from the early teams of AdMob and Dropbox and Google and Twitter. So it didn't
be nice
we
to
didn't
be
actually
in the valley, man, honestly.
If you go from a first principles perspective, any engineer would look at the life insurance process and industry, and no one would ever say, you know what, if I had unlimited degrees of freedom, that's how I would design it, right? So we had a lot of really passionate people because it's a fundamentally awesome product. We were able to find our carrier partners pretty quickly.
Excellent. So tell me about how you tackle the problem initially. I mean, I'm guessing, 8 minutes is not a lot of time to fill out a questionnaire. What are you doing different on the underwriting side, getting you just the digitization that's getting you to completion faster?
Yeah. So we really always focused on the end consumer problem. That's kind of what is our driving mission. So it's part of our culture and DNA and how we talk about it. Everything starts with what's the user problem. And we think about the user, we think about the end consumer. So we sat down and just talked to a lot of end consumers and say, hey, this is actually, believe it or not, awareness is pretty high. Help us understand why you haven't gotten this in place. It's quite affordable. I mean, a $100,000 policy from us for 20 years, if you're younger, can cost less than $10 a month. So it's really affordable. People know they have it. Help us understand why you haven't done it. We heard all the questions I'm sure you've heard before. Inconvenient. I got to go during business hours. It takes a really long time for me to get an answer. By the time I get an answer, life has moved on. It's just busy. So we knew we had to do something that was available all the time, right? 24/7. We knew we had to do something that was really straightforward, kind of light and easy, and then kind of worked back from that. So customers really don't care that deeply about, for example, what underwriting class they fall into. What they really care about is what's going to be their price, what's their coverage, and what's their price. So we really architected it all really around the customer problems, but we do all the stuff traditional insurance companies do. We just really came at it from a totally different angle.
Excellent. And now I'm guessing you must have limits before you have to undertake traditional underwriting, right?
We do.
Someone can't go in and get like $20 million, right?
What?
Someone can't come in and just apply for $20 million and get it issued in 8 minutes, right?
Yeah, we only go up to $8 million, which is kind of traditionally kind of the high end of term market. Yeah, $100,000 to $8 million, and we will give everyone instant decision. Some people, if you're applying for a really big policy or a really complex family history or some medical stuff, we may have some follow-up work for you to do, but we'll also offer you a temporary policy if you'd like. So you can get covered right away, but we may need you to go get some labs done or other things. But we're always trying to create for each customer simplest possible process. And that allows us to really get both the protective value we need, so we can give customers great prices, but also do it in a really sustainable way.
And is all the issuance and basically confirmation of the policies all done digitally as well?
Digitally and instantly. And you can, again, log in and manage all that stuff digitally and instantly too.
Sorry, it's such a foreign concept to me. I'm having trouble wrapping my head around.
Yeah, customers love it. We have like these just in case cards. Customers can log into their policy admin page, and they can put the policy number on it. They can put how much coverage they want on it, and they can email it to their friends, or they can print it out so that your loved ones know how to make a claim if it's needed. So everyone can kind of have that peace of mind. So even just simple stuff like that, which you would think nowadays those problems would be solved, but they're still, just given some of the technology debt that a lot of companies have, it's just harder for them.
So you talked about the ability to reduce coverage very quickly. Now, do you basically see that as a general slider or something, or do you say, hey, you should really go through this kind of needs analysis first and confirm it's the right amount for you?
Yeah. So what we do is we help customers at least twice a year. We say, hey, listen, you should think about your needs analysis if you need more or less. But if you want to reduce your coverage, you literally just log in and press the down arrow. It's that easy. But we also have APIs we've rebuilt around our full tech stack so that if you're a customer and you permission someone that you do some of that planning with, whether that's a software program like an Intuit or a Mint, whether that's SoFi where you may have your student loans, you can then see how much coverage you have in place, what you need, and if you have enough to cover your needs or not. So we always want to make sure people have just the right amount of coverage for them.
So tell me about that. Have you done many integrations to date, or many people integrated with your API and been able to, dashboard or let's just say trigger actions on behalf of the clients should they need to change the amount of coverage?
Yeah, we're big believers in being out where it's really relevant for our customers over time. So Intuit and SoFi are partners of ours, but everything is really driven by the customers taking action. So we believe we want to get it out there and have it to be as relevant for you as possible. But we also want to make sure that you're really the one making the decision and you're kind of driving those choices. But yeah, partners are really important for us. We have a bunch of partners. They tend to be more digital first people where you tend to go manage your money, your mortgage, your student loans, things around having kids. Those are all places that it's really relevant for people to think about life insurance. And what's nice is we can go there in a way that we say go there, and it's a digital partnership where they can kind of leverage our APIs.
And now you do work with, I see here that you do actually have an advisor distribution channel. Can you tell me about how that works?
Yeah, that's fantastic. So we work with registered investment advisors, and what they're doing is they're talking to their clients about their whole financial picture. And for a lot of them, life insurance plays a role in your total financial picture, but shouldn't consume all of the conversation. So what we do is allow advisors to refer customers to us. And again, with a customer's permission, you can then share back with your advisor, and this is basically through a mini URL referral, where you are in the application process. If you have a policy, is it in place? What's the premium amount? When's the next premium payment? So the next time that advisor has that conversation with a customer, they'll actually see, oh, wow, you've bought a new home, your needs have gone up, but I can actually see exactly kind of how much you have in force today and help you think through, should you apply for more? Should you cancel your coverage? All that type of stuff. And it's been really successful for us. Advisors are loving it. Actually, we started doing it because we had a lot of advisors as clients because they loved the efficiency of our process. They loved our delightful prices. So it's kind of a nice natural evolution for us.
I can see being popular in the fee-only space too. I mean, these are advisors who couldn't get compensation on insurance anyway. So being able to refer to someone who basically there's no need to quote unquote trust you guys, not to try to upsell these guys. By design, you do one thing. So if they do that one thing very well and they understand it, they know that you're going to get that kind of one action every time.
Yep. And they love it. And it's straightforward and easy to understand.
Now, you're also selling, this is interesting, you're selling into the workplace space as well. Can you speak to that?
Sure. Again, that's really an outgrowth of some of our customers actually were business owners or worked in HR departments. And a lot of times for them, they're really trying to move to a role where they give employees basically a budget for benefits. And you as an employee can allocate how you want that. And they kind of, employees like us because basically we are giving the employee the life insurance coverage. And if they were to change that employer, it's not like a traditional group plan. They don't actually lose the coverage or have to pay a lot to way more than market rates to get an extension or supplemental. So this is a true fully underwritten term product, and the employers just help subsidize the cost. And again, since we have such great APIs, we can do technical integrations very quickly in straightforward and beautiful way.
So, I mean, you're doing a pretty good, effective job there of targeting, basically going where the clients are, direct to consumer, business referral, and through advisor channels. You've even got a standard, so you'll even compensate people for referring their friends over to you too.
Absolutely.
Which channel have you not hit?
Yeah, we try to make it as simple as possible while just staying relentlessly focused on really trying to solve those customer needs. So we want to be every place it's really relevant for customers to think about. What's neat is, again, the referral. We saw some friends who it was actually a couple of moms groups where one mom in the new moms group, got a policy. They loved it so much they told all their friends about it. They wanted just an easier way to tell their friends. So that's where it's kind of grew up around.
Interesting. So you guys planning on expanding to any other forms of insurance, or are you sticking with life for now?
We talked about us being kind of relentlessly focused on the end customer. We've had some customers reach out and talk to us and asking us to kind of what they think are their pain points, it's great. We've heard this also from some advisors. So they've talked to us about disability, about critical illness, about hospital indemnity because they have some high deductible health plans. So for us, we want to wait till we really hear just absolute critical, like one central critical voice from our customers on what we want to do next. But we will be expanding what exactly we do. I would say stay tuned.
I'll continue to go where your demand is taking you, I guess.
It's not much harder than that.
Good. I mean, you guys are really, I encourage everybody to check out your website. You guys are really, I'd say, simplify it to its core needs. It's an approachable, clean site, some basic education. It is term insurance. It's not to be rocket science. The need is pretty understandable, and it's I can see why you're being successful here. You've removed the ridiculous friction I put my clients through every time we file for a term policy, and you do it at a speed that is remarkable. One of the things you talk about is basically talking about price competition. How do you ensure that you're competitive in that space?
Sure. So one of the things we don't yet do is show competitor prices. Our prices are delightful. We look at them pretty relentlessly. We've also had some advisors they refer their clients to look at them pretty relentlessly. We're stripping out a lot of the waste in the process, and we're basically giving that back to consumers with more affordable pricing. So our prices are really delightful. But we do have 84,000 different combinations of age, health class, sex, coverage amount. But I would say on the vast majority of them, we're usually one of the 2 or 3 cheapest options in the market.
And besides, given the convenience factor you guys have, people are going to opt to select you guys if you're close. You don't have to be the cheapest option because unless they've got a couple spare months lying around to get the thing done, it's going to take a while.
And a lot of times we're talking about the difference between a lot of times less than a nickel a month. This is a market that we're trying to drive as much efficiency as we can.
Excellent. Well, so, you've clearly done that. You've taken something that we overcomplicate to no end and unfortunately make it a inconvenient, less than pleasing experience and streamline it to literally its core. So well done. A couple of questions for you before we wrap up, the same kind of ones I ask everybody. So the first question is, if you had one wish for something you could change in your company or in your industry, whatever it might be, what would that be? I
would say for me, it would be to have more of a focus on the end consumer. I think a lot of things have gotten complicated over the years because there hasn't been a lot of real relentless focus on what exactly the customer needs and how can I serve that most easily. A lot of times people are trying to solve, I would say, problems that face them as a company, opposed to really problems that face their policyholders.
It's a common problem. Honestly, I've been involved with various boards and whatever, and everybody starts off by talking about consumer orientation, and the second it comes down to challenging their lines of business, it's like, well, no, you start making excuses for doing things the way you were doing them always, right? It's something, it takes a lot of kind of courage to stay on that path. But if you do, I think it's been shown that the market will reward you with that.
And customers' expectations go up every day. It's hard. It's not something you can stay still on.
Yep, agreed. So the next question I have for you is, what's been the biggest challenge to date in terms of getting your company to where it is?
Sure. I think one of our biggest challenges is making something that can be quite complex, like life insurance underwriting, to really be simple and to a consumer delightful. That's really, really, really hard. Probably not as hard as Apple had taken all the complexity of the technology they do and turning it into a simple iPhone, but we really try to do it. We try to make sure it just works and we're not taking it through that complexity. And man, it's a huge, huge challenge when you have third-party data providers that don't have the same type of response time, and just getting the whole industry organized around making it simple and delightful has been a massive challenge for us. Thankfully, one we've, I would say, cracked the nut on, but one we work on every day.
Yeah, well, it's not their way of thinking, right? Everybody works on doing what it is that's going to make their job get from point A to point B. There's no thought towards outward design, making it easier for others. A number of times I've seen something as simple as, here's a spreadsheet I give my clients. It's like, this is not developed for your clients. This is developed for you, clearly, because no one else can make head or tails of this thing, right? Like,
yeah, exactly.
If you were really going to design this for someone else, you would never produce this. So it's what it is. So,
or you at least sit over someone's shoulder and watch them try to use it the first time. Like, oh yeah, geez, I've made a lot of assumptions there. That's not right.
Yeah, no kidding. Just because it gets you from point A to point B fast for you, it doesn't mean it's right or it's going to work.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. So last question before we wrap up.
Yeah.
What excites you the most about what you're working on? What gets you up out of bed every morning, keeps you going? Because entrepreneurship can be a challenge.
For us, it's so cool because, first of all, this is a massive industry that is fundamentally awesome for families and communities. Like, it is a fundamentally redeeming product, and it's hard work every day, and we have challenges every day. But ultimately, if we're successful at Ladder, we're closing that coverage gap for 37 million families in the U.S. Like, that's huge. If you look at GoFundMe, their single largest campaign are around bereavement, around people trying to keep their friends in their community so they can support them during those really tough times. So if we can make a dent in
that always frustrates me. It always frustrates me because, I'm in the business of making sure that people don't let people get or themselves or other people get in a situation. And I look at, a month doesn't go by where I don't see something on the news about lack of planning by these people, and now the family's basically in a very difficult spot. Now, the most frustrating one for me is travel insurance. Like, they'll go down to the Caribbean, get into an accident, need like $60,000 to medevac them home. And it's like, you could have just clicked yes on the travel website and you couldn't be bothered to do that for $20. Come on.
Yeah. And it's probably actually maybe even less than $20. Like, that's what's amazing. And it's because we're not doing a great job making it really relevant and understandable. One of the things I love about what Lemonade is doing is they are doing a great job talking about, listen, the insurance industry in a lot of ways has earned the bad reputation it has with consumers because it hasn't always offered awesome products. So we're going to need to relentlessly focus on offering an awesome product to really redeem those consumers' trust. And that's what we're really trying to do here at Ladder too.
Good. Great. Well, thank you for it. Because, one of two things: either more people start to follow your lead and create simpler, more client beneficial explanations of what it is that can help them, therefore leading to better results, or basically it's either they're going to start copying or losing to you, one or the other. So it's probably going to be the former, and that's just going to hopefully raise the bar for them around. So thank you for that, sir.
Yeah. Well, hey, absolutely. We hope a lot of people will learn from us. A lot of the big Canadian companies are pretty relentlessly following what we're doing. So we hope this is about solving that big problem. There needs to be a multiple choices. So we hope we can move the industry forward just a little bit.
The problem's the same elsewhere. The problem is the same elsewhere. Yeah. Life insurance is a product that has to be sold. And I think part of that's a common refrain, but frankly, I don't know that it does if you make it easy and understandable enough, right? If you can basically be like, here, this is your situation, here's a reasonable cost. You can see that we justified it based on the numbers you gave us. It's not a sale. It's basically, it's leading people to a foregone conclusion.
Yeah. And people get it. When they have a kid, they get it. Or they wake up in the middle of the night and they think about it. Like, it is not a hard concept to understand that you're basically helping people who count on you financially. You're making sure that whether you're there or not, they're taken care of. And that's just a little bit like fire insurance. People just get it. They understand it. So we just want to make sure they have a means to be able to execute. So this is great, Jason. Thanks for taking the time to talk to me.
No, my pleasure. Thank you for taking the time to actually tell me what it is you're doing and keep it up. Hope you wish you nothing but